Hi,
Cool.
welcome everyone. This is the Film Pittsburgh Fall Festival Q&A for our film, The Last Out. I'm excited to talk to the filmmaking team, and if you guys could introduce yourself and tell us your role on the film, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Jon Miller, producer and cinematographer on the film.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Gassert. I'm a co-director and producer.
And I'm Sami Khan. I'm the other director and one of the producers. And thank you so much, Catherine, for having us. And we want to say congratulations on 20 years at Film Pittsburgh.
Oh,
that's
thank you.
amazing.
Thank you so much, Sami. It was some of our audience might recall seeing you last year at Pittsburgh Shorts with your film, your winning film, St. Louis Superman. And it's great to see you here again, not in person, unfortunately, but at least here on the screen. So thanks for being with us today. And I'd love to hear more about how this film came to be. It's such an interesting story about these baseball players trying to make it in the big leagues. And I don't know which one of you wants to start, but if someone could let us know, just how did you come to work on this and find these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I can sort of take a stab at it. We're sports fans, we're baseball fans, and as we got older, we started to think about, what is the cost that it takes an athlete to get to where they are, whether that's the pros or a league in, the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. What does it take for that athlete to get there? And truth be told, there's just a slight difference between the player playing in the Mexican League and the Major League Baseball star. It's often just luck or 2% that doesn't, that just doesn't make it, that extra 2%. So when we started the project, which feels like eons ago, 6 years ago, we were looking at baseball players who were taking these considerable risks, dangerous risks, to leave Cuba and to try and make it to the major leagues. And we would talk, and we started shooting stuff, started shooting interviews, and figuring out, okay, what's our way into the story? And then in January of 2015, we had convinced Gustavo Dominguez, the agent in the film, Gus, to agree to let us film an interview with him. And at the end of the interview, he invited us down to Costa Rica to film with this new group of Cuban ball players that he had down there. And that's sort of when we started filming down there, when we gathered Gus's backstory. That's when the project really started to come to life, and we found the seam that we followed for a couple of years.
Well, it's so interesting because there's so many elements in the arc of this movie where, you learn Gus's backstory, and he was in jail, and then just following the three ball players that you ended up really focusing on, and just the highs and lows, and, all those scouts came that one day, and you really thought it was going to be great for them. And so, yeah, how did you three come together as a team?
Well, I'll jump in there. I mean, Sami had been working on this project for a while and been researching it, and he brought the project.
That's how Sami works.
Yeah. He wrote a very nice pitch, which is for, entirely different story than the movie ended up being, which is, I think, how a lot of documentaries go. But yeah, he sent that pitch to me. He got me interested. We were exploring some stuff. Mike came on one of our first interviews in Boston, and he got excited about the project too. And I think that trip down to Costa Rica when we first met the guys, that was the thing that kind of brought it all together. But as far as how we all met, we all sort of came up in New York working together on different projects, and known each other for a very long time. I'd worked on some of Sami's student films and things like that. So we've all been in and out of each other's lives a lot, and then these last 5 years, very intensely.
Very nice. And so talk a little bit about the challenges that you had making this film in terms of just shooting in the sheer number of countries that you shot in. Anything that might be interesting for the audience to know about the film, having watched it.
I think with many documentaries, especially those told, in real time verite, it's always the uncertainty of life. And we were along for the ride with the guys, just the same. We were waiting for somebody to get signed and anticipating these moments of joy. And you kind of don't think of it in the beginning to say, hey, we also want to be there with you when you miss your family and you're down in the dumps and you get cut and you have no country to call home, So I think, the story and unique situation that Sami keyed into early on, that these unique Cuban immigrants face in meeting this demand for these baseball players, and in the backdrop of the geopolitical situation, we had a sense that there would be dark elements and dark moments to the story. But when you get close to the players and they become your friends and you're looking out for each other, that becomes even more visceral. But I think it's important, and I think we all agreed, no matter if it was an upturn or downturn, we wanted to be there with these guys and follow the truth of their story.
It was so painful when one of the players, I think it might have been Happy, said he had just been cut, and he said, I would have taken $100,000. I mean, that's a lot of money. And, but that's not how it worked. And, it was a fascinating story just about how that fleeting moment of making it, and that hopefulness, and that little fleeting moment that some people, very few people, but some people make it through.
Yeah, I mean, just to jump in, Catherine, I think,
Sure.
That's exactly right. That's, sort of what I was trying to key into at the top. But like, there was a moment towards the beginning of the project, those first 5-6 months of the project, we knew that the guys were going to sign.
Wow.
There was the interest. The Astros were all over Carlos. Even Happy, who sometimes struggled to get attention. There was talk of sort of bundling him with one of the other players to get a deal done. So we knew it was going to happen. And then time just kept dragging on. They didn't get their paperwork. They weren't approved for Major League Free Agency. It just kept dragging on. And then the world started shifting and turning. And I think that's, whether we're elite athletes or not, I think that's something all of us can relate to. That fact of, trying to make something happen for ourselves, for our family. And we can control what we can control. We can do our best, but the world sometimes conspires against us.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so watching that play out in slow motion, and our hearts were breaking on the one hand, seeing it happen, but then we were also had the pressure too of just documenting that, and that was hard for us. I can't imagine how the guys felt, where they were expected, like Villalone, says, one of the coaches, it's like, you just got to go and focus on the field and give it 110%. Well, that's a lot easier to say than to actually do when you've come thousands and thousands of miles and left your family.
Right. I love the scene when Happy went home and his family acted like, I mean, it was so, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about how wonderful it was, because, family means so much. And it was really, that scene really clearly demonstrated what his family meant to him. So the guys, two of them are living in the US now and just working jobs.
Yes, both Happy and Carlos were able to take advantage of the instant asylum we were giving Cuban immigrants up until 2017. And they have their green cards and are on a path to U.S. citizenship if they so choose. But they're both hardworking individuals, as you can tell from the film. I mean, baseball wasn't in the cards for them, and the complications around whether or not they should have or could have signed, I think is the drama that we tried to capture in the film in part. But also, these guys, they were going to have a say in what was going to happen to them. You know, it didn't play out. Maybe Gus broke his promise to them, but they weren't going to break their promise to their families. So I'm glad that last scene especially resonates with you, is one that we labored over getting right and just having the right emotional tone, because yeah, it's really difficult to digest the fact that these guys were so close, they were on the brink, and I think anybody can relate to, you know, it's something they're striving for that's just out of reach. But at the end, it really is about those human connections that sustain all of the up and downs in our life, and these guys are really true testaments to that human spirit, you know, beyond just, you know, their value in terms of baseball, you know, $100,000 like you were talking about.
Right. It's sad, though, to think that they were so talented and now they just don't play anymore. But have they seen the movie? And what was that like for them?
John, you wanna jump in?
Well, sure. I think you guys can say what some of their comments were, but yeah, they all like the film and feel like it's pretty true to their experience. I don't know what Barreau's viewing experience has been, because I feel like he probably had to watch it on a phone as not. But they did see earlier versions while we were editing, and like we were asking, is this the truth of your experience? And the answer was yes. And when they saw the final version, they all like it a lot. So
That's
all
great.
three of the guys are happy with the movie.
Did the film premiere prior to the pandemic shutting everything down, or has it mostly been virtual screenings?
It's mostly been virtual screenings. We were going to premiere at Tribeca. I guess we kind of premiered at Tribeca, and we won a special jury prize there in April. But it's certainly the pandemic. Priorities are, safety and security and everyone's health primarily. So it has been virtual screenings, although we did do the rooftop films in New York City.
Fantastic.
Put on a Queens drive-in, and John and Mike were able to go for that. I wasn't able to go, but it looked like a great
We actually
experience.
opened the Queens drive-in. It was one of the very first screenings, which was awesome.
Fantastic.
Right in the shadow of Citi Field.
And we got Sami in there for the virtual Q&A. It was a very 2020 experience, standing in the back lots, having some of us projected and Sami dialing in, but it was great. It was good to connect with audiences, but we're grateful for platforms like Film Pittsburgh has put together here for us to be able to share the film virtually. I mean,
we're
it could have gone the other way, so it's an important time for storytellers.
Absolutely. I can't agree with you more. And you always have a home here, as Sami knows, but always. So please consider sharing your stuff with us moving forward. Tell us what you're working on now, whether it's together or separately.
I think we're all working on things that, not a lot of them are not ready to, share with the public and stuff. But I have a movie which may end up being a series called Black Box that we shot before the pandemic, and there's still some things to finish on that is I think it's an exciting project. It's a mystery feature doc about an Eastern Airlines crash in La Paz, Bolivia in 1985.
Oh, wow.
I'm also excited about Borat 2, which just came out, which I did a tiny bit of work on.
Oh, nice. My husband watched it the night it came out, so good.
Me too.
Right.
The footage of Bolivia looks incredible. John's capture of that plane crash. And I'm a producer and writer on a show which is airing on NBC now, which shares some thematic connection to The Last Out. It's called Transplant, and it's about a Syrian refugee who goes to Toronto and is trying to make a life for himself, trying to prove himself as a doctor, and then just dealing with a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old and during a pandemic is a full-time job.
Tell us again where we can watch The Transplant.
Oh, Transplant, it's on NBC on Tuesdays at 10 p.m.
Gotcha.
And it's also on Peacock, the app, and my wife and I are watching it, and we're fans. It's great.
Good.
On demand, right? Yeah.
Michael, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm starting my next nonfiction project that also does sort of share themes of The Last Out and St. Louis Superman and just the human spirit. It's about this young metalhead slash classical guitar player savant named Camilo Fucar in Dominican Republic, who not only has started this tremendous street school of music, but he really sort of dives deep into some of his own vulnerabilities and traumas of the past as well. So it's sort of an internal exploration, but challenges the ideas of access to art and what public space is really for.
Mm. Well, I am so grateful that you were able to share your time with us today. You clearly are filmmakers that care about the human condition, and I'm grateful to be able to share your film with our audience. Good luck to you. Please stay in touch, keep us posted, and we'll sign off for today. Thank you so much, Film Pittsburgh Fall Festival audience. We appreciate your tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.